Hey guys, it's Matt Higgins. In today's video, I want to talk about the role of the Supreme Chancellor. Now, I'm not going to be talking about Supreme Chancellor Palpatine specifically. I will make mention of him, of course, but this is more about his position and what responsibilities that he had. So at the time of the Galactic Republic, the Supreme Chancellor was the head of the Senate. The individual was in charge of organizing senatorial sessions as well as moderating discussion. Just as Senator Palpatine said in The Phantom Menace, the Chancellor actually has little real power. Now, the whole reason behind this is that when the Galactic Republic was established, they wanted to make sure that whoever was in charge of the Senate did not have enough power to become a dictator. Obviously, we know how that turned out. But the point is that the Chancellor's power was supposed to be limited from the beginning. Now, it didn't help that in the waning days of the Republic, the Chancellor was already inhibited by bureaucratic procedures in the Senate and corruption that was rampant. When it came time to elect a new Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic, several senators would be nominated and an election would be held. The winner of the election by a simple majority would become the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic. Supreme Chancellors enjoyed their own private residence, as well as their very own luxurious office in the Senate office building. Since the establishment of the Supreme Chancellor position, there has been no Supreme Chancellor that has had to deal with a large galactic-scale conflict until the final Chancellor assumed office, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. Now, back when I mentioned that the Supreme Chancellor actually didn't hold much real power, that was true in peacetime situations. When the position was established about 1,000 years prior to Chief Palpatine assuming office, a procedure was created in order to give the Supreme Chancellor emergency powers to deal with crisis situations. In order to be granted these emergency powers, the Supreme Chancellor would have to receive them via an election in the Senate. Furthermore, the Supreme Chancellor could not propose that they themselves receive this power. Instead, it had to be a motion put forth by a senator. Obviously, we saw this in Attack of the Clones when Representative Binks, acting on behalf of Senator Amidala, requested that Supreme Chancellor Palpatine be granted emergency powers to deal with the rising power of the Separatists. Through Palpatine's gradual acquisition of more and more emergency powers, he eventually took control from the Senate, which in turn took control from the worlds of the Republic, for himself. Eventually, he garnered enough power to completely reorganize the government from a republic to a galactic empire. Chancellor Palpatine was elected in 32 BBY. Now, mind you, the Galactic Empire was established in 19 BBY. That's about 13 years of service as Supreme Chancellor. In the past, Supreme Chancellors have been prohibited from serving more than 2 4-year terms. But with the Clone Wars raging and his extraordinary popularity, he was able to circumvent the balance of power. The role of the Supreme Chancellor was modeled highly after the President of the United States. Both positions have 4-year terms with a maximum allowable number of terms of 2. Both the President of the United States and the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic can issue executive orders, as well as they both act as Commander-in-Chief of their respective militaries. And on that note, the Supreme Chancellor was actually originally called the President. The first mention of a head of state for the Republic was given in the Episode 4 or A New Hope novelization. Despite Palpatine's abuse of power in his role, the position of Chancellor was retained by the New Republic. However, instead of the title being Supreme Chancellor, it was now just Chancellor. Instead of the Chancellor's powers coming from a constitution in this case, the Chancellor of the New Republic received their powers from the Charter of the Chancellor, which was a document signed at the Galactic Concordance. Surprisingly, though, the emergency powers that Supreme Chancellor Palpatine had abused to transform the Galactic Republic into the Galactic Empire persisted in the charter of the Chancellor. The first Chancellor of the New Republic, Mon Mothma, though, set out to eliminate those powers and prevent anyone else from abusing them ever again. So that's going to do it here for this video, guys. I'm thinking about taking this video idea and turning it into kind of a mini-series about the Galactic Republic and how the government functioned. I think that'd be pretty interesting to dive into some of the topics that we don't hear about too much, such as the court system. So stay tuned for more of these videos. Other than that, guys, have a great weekend, and may the Force be with you always.